You can get wireless stuff, but it's A, extremely expensive, and also it's never comfortable. Not like this. Alright, guys, grand finals. I know it's weird, just a best of 3 grand final, but again, if MaxPax wins because he came from the lower bracket, it will be a second best of 3. Bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid. It is Clem. Yeah, the winner bracket finals was a bit of aggression. Let's see what the grand finals leads us to as we get this started up. And we have a look to see just what is gonna go down. So we get a Rax and a Gas to begin with here. Just going to be seeing our gateway and simulator setting up right now. These two always play some fun games, and of course they do have a good amount of aggression that they kind of throw at each other as well, and that's definitely a factor that I think has to play into what we maybe expect to see here a little bit and so on. So it's definitely something I'm kind of wondering about how it's going to go, see what's going to happen, etc. It's going to be interesting as we get ourselves a sniper core placed and just seeing probe across the map, of course, to scout initially. Clem's not really up to anything crazy, though, or anything ludicrous. He's very much so playing by the usual kind of meta rules of Terran versus Protoss, which is just setting up for Reaper Expand. I was torn, of course, about how we don't see necessarily as many Reaper Expands now. We do see a lot of Marine-focused expands, but this will be a Reaper this time. So he will be looking for a little bit of info, maybe a little bit of damage to be dealt. See just how he manages it all in the near future. Let's get set up. He's actually going to steal a gas from MaxPax as well, so that might slow down some of MaxPax's plans. So a gas stolen, and a Nexus still building up on the natural. So that's coming through here. Getting that ready, a simulator is building. It's going to be having our gateway continuing to move on through. Going to be seeing our Reaper kind of backing away from the Adept. So really not much to say just yet, right? We're kind of waiting for the first tech choice to really come in. You know, Clem is building a bunker, so we're going to be a little bit cautious here. Factory is building as well. And from MaxPax, he makes another Adept. So he's going to have a good amount of gas coming through. Maybe because, I mean, he would have a good amount of gas coming through if he had a second gas, but obviously no second gas makes it a bit weird. He does now pop down the Twilight Council, so yeah, that guy's still actually a bit influential, right? Definitely slows down MaxPax a little bit and takes away from what he can build. He can't go into a Stalker off this Adept instead of an Adept because it's just a bit too gas heavy if he still wants to attack. And now this Reaper comes in as well, and he's actually going to get to scout the Twilight Council, so Clem is fully aware of what's going on here, and he will see what his opponent is setting up to as 2 Marines coming down the ramp. An Adept is going to be taking some damage already, and that's going to get pushed around the back of this natural mineral line, shading back out to the front, but there's a Hellion here, and that Hellion is going to get the kill. Now, SCV does go down. The Hellion dodges back into the natural. You could argue these Marines maybe should have just been in the bunker, and Clem maybe should still put them in the bunker. Marines is getting a little bit more involved than maybe should have been, as Hellion and a couple more Marines will continue out. They will continue forward and going to just chase that Adept down. Has 2 Adepts killed, so damage traded out on either side. Clem is making another Hellion going into a medevac, so absolutely looking for some kind of Hellion drop into his opponent's base in the near future. As there goes the medevac loading up a group of Marines, and we'll be taking those, as I say, into his opponent's base. And actually the Hellions are then going to run by, so it's going to be a Marine drop and Hellions to run by with it. It's an attack that Clem does frequently. Now, having killed a couple of Adepts early, there are going to be less units than usual to defend. We do have the oh, no Widowmine or anything, right? Or no Reaper to kind of bop these Stalkers out the way. As the Hellions are going to fight the Adept out the front, but the Marines are in the main. There is a battery in the main, mind you. Hellions trade out, they get an Adept. He's now going to run into the natural. There's not a battery in the natural, but there is a Stalker. We do have a warp in of a Stalker as well. Clem should just be targeting probes here, but don't know how well this is going to go. He gets 2 workers, and he's pushed away. The Hellions are still alive. It's a good defense from MaxPax. This could have been a lot worse for him, and Clem really makes the most of well, actually turned into a bad situation. The fact that this medevac is out alive while getting a couple of probes, I thought was actually kind of impressive, given how it started to go. But yeah, good defense from MaxPax. The wall being up was big. Ah, he's going to get the medevac, though, Clem. Oh, no, he squeezed past the Meta Stalker here. Does he see it? I don't think so. Blink is done soon. Maybe he sees it now. I actually don't think he did. I think this medevac does get home alive. All right, well, 3 gates, and we are going to see some amount of Stalker pressure, as obviously with only 3 gates, you can't afford the Nexus nice and quickly, though. There's a bunker on the low ground, a tank in the main, and Clem's actually already moving the factory over to a reactor, so he's not going to be overly defensive. He's not building another siege tank right away here. Couple extra Stalkers coming through, and let's see what MaxPax can find for himself. Is he going to go in the main first? It is a big main base. If he blinks in over here, he will not be in range of the tank, so that's a safe place for him to go. He can work his way around the back of the mineral line, get a couple SCVs, work on that refinery. And that is going to be how we start this, as the tank fires and Stalkers will take a shot. Obviously, a couple Marauders, and a few Marines to come and fight this off. And I'm just going to try and keep it zoned out, get his gas mining again, and work from here again. With only 1 siege tank, he's only got so much space he can kind of cover in that regard. So that's going to make this a little bit tougher. You can see already, though, the Prism is taking a few Stalkers around the side to drop into the main, and a few Stalkers looking at the front here. So we are already kind of moving on from kind of full-on Stalker pressure. Again, it's only 3 gates, and that's why the Robo Bay is already up and running as well. The extended thermal lands on the way for the Colossus. The probes are going down as the Raven comes into play, so he gets some probes to even out the SCVs being lost. And Clem has Stim now, so... Uh-oh. MaxPax not realizing his Prism is maybe moving in a bad way. Take some shots on that. These are the few units that Clem left at home. And right now they have a good look on the Prism to make sure that he knows what's going on. As he's just going to be getting rid of a Stalker here. MaxPax getting distracted. Obviously, as Clem gets across the map, there is going to be a Colossus. The Prism recalls too, and I think with the Prism at home, there's not much Clem can do here. The micro on the Colossus will be a bit too good. And with enough micro, that Colossus just shouldn't really die, which obviously would be a little bit problematic if you can't get rid of the Colossus. Is continuing back to the upper right, another pylon going down. Bioforce is moving up to the top of the map, so away we go. Again, charge coming through, +1 attack, send thermal lance. All of this is coming into play. See some Zards warping in. We're just going to get a Stim. I mean, honestly, I like where the tank is siege and a couple of mines to boost this as well. The mines don't get to fire just yet as we're going to move through. The super battery is going to be targeted by Clem, but he's taking Colossus fire during it. Now let's see what these Widow Mines can do. Might get the other Widow Mine off onto the sentries. It's seen by MaxPax, so doesn't commit. Wow, Clem was really brave there, just going for that super battery when all that Colossus fire around him. Maybe brave isn't even the right word, maybe stupid, but, you know, it was definitely a very bold move. You know, whether it's well-informed or not. I mean, he got the battery, just felt like he lost a lot of units. I did like where he was. You know, the tank here, the Widow Mine's there, and it felt like MaxPax was kind of, you know, it gave Clem space. He had space to get through, so... Yeah, I didn't hate where he was at, and now Clem is going to actually try and deny this 4th base. Uh-oh. These force fields have to be really on point, because if they aren't on point, then you're in some trouble here. That base cancels. I mean, it feels like Clem could have right-clicked it sooner and had a better time. The Stalker's here. Clem's is going to go, though. The blink-in is A, late, and actually there's no target fire initially on the medevac. How do we have another super battery already? Are you kidding me? Wow, super batteries apparently recharge faster than before, as we're just going to kill a Colossus, though. And now he's maybe going to drop for that Colossus, decides not to. And he lost a fair amount of units in this exchange, but he's killing a few as well. He actually has this medevac just coming out of there. This Raven is set up to maybe try and get more kills too. It's been dropping some auto turrets. Feels like Clem is trading well at the end, as this Widow Mine will get a hit on the Colossus, at least removing some shields for the moment. Though don't think Clem is in a position to capitalize further on that exact moment. There's our Nexus that will continue through. So another attempt at this 4th base. This 4th base position seems really tough to take for Protoss. I remember watching Time vs. Mana in TSL, and it felt like every time Mana tried to defend this exact base, he ran into so much trouble because the opponent runs in and they've got a fair good choke point, and you are choked on a ramp and then the Nexus, trying to defend it, so it's kind of a weird one. Clem has a lot of supply right now coming across the map, and he is just looking to go in and maybe put a kill on this, as we do have our medevacs, Vikings. All 3 Widow Mines go down in sync, though, so his splash damage is removed already. The one Widow Mine that was already there actually does connect on the Zealots. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's kind of weird because he just doesn't have a good answer to Colossus, right? I mean, right now the good part of his army is that it's overwhelming in numbers. But yeah, he doesn't really have an answer to Colossus. He'll start a second starport, in fact, give up on mine production. He just got a Ghost Academy done as well, so he can introduce some EMPs to play, and obviously that makes the Colossus an easier target further down the line. Just seeing this command center is going to be finishing soon. The counterattack dealt with by a few Widow Mines. That's obviously Clem making his way to a fourth base pretty comfortably in the next few moments. So there's our 3 ghosts on the way up. I'm going to start pressing forward with this little bit of bio army again. That fourth base, a target of Clem's here. He stims for it. Is he just going to commit for it, though, is the question. I think so. He's already running back, and he has it. Yes, he gave up some units for that, but he gets out with, I think, a comfortable number. Medevac. If that full Medevac goes down, maybe it's a bit too expensive, but really just wants to keep his opponent off a fourth base, knowing that he's got a lot of tech coming in at home, and that's going to aid him in a lot of the future fights. I think Clem is, again, very comfortable in the position he's in right now. A Ghost actually snipes a Zealot over here as he's just trying to chase MaxPax away and just not let him really get to anything else. Kind of an intriguing moment or two. While Archons are morphing in, just going to be seeing a couple of Zealots running through and a Widow Mine connecting on one of those Zealots already. Back up the right-hand side. Yes, EMP, I think he thought maybe there was an observer there, and he didn't see it, so didn't see it properly, but yeah, Brothers of Widow Mines actually will go off on, well, some Zealots. I mean, the Stalker's blinked away. Next Widow Mine, gonna get a Zealot as well. Nope, Zealot just out of range there as Clement is not afraid to kind of threaten to kind of just chase forwards and jump on this army. And that's got to be terrifying as MaxPax when your opponent's like, oh, Colossi, let me run into you. Because then you've got to kind of believe that, oh, maybe I'm really not actually meant to fight here. And it's kind of a tough call as well, whether you are or whether you're not. Just going to be seeing this army of Clem still around the right-hand side as the Widow Mines do get cleaned out now. Disruptors on the way through as well. He's out still from MaxPax around the left. Going to grab a Marine already. The brace sets up. A few Marines coming through. Zealots get chased away. On the right side, a couple of Marines just going to go in after this pylon. And War Prism is going to be seen by the factory. So you know the Prism's there if Clem's paying attention. He is. And obviously he's got the Vikings he can send back to deal with this as well. So MaxPax pretty much just has to go in and warp in units right away. But there is a serious issue in terms of he only had like 8 free supplies. He could warp in like 4 Zealots. And Clem just completely shut that down. So that was a good shutdown. Doesn't have to worry about the Prism now in the base or with the army, right? So A, you don't have to worry about it being kind of harassing you. And now you don't have to worry about reinforcements or even micro on the Colossi. The Vikings are going to have a field day on these Colossi, I think. There's a lot of them, and the Stalkers do not feel brave enough to get forward here. Disruptor Shot will force this Bio Army back, and he hits a couple of Ghosts with that as well. This Disruptor Shot is not going to go off. He gets it last second. Clem. Oh, wow. Just brave again. Bold. I actually think a couple times in this game so far, he's just been bold in his moves and believes in what he's doing. And in doing so, has really kind of created opportunities which were maybe not actually there. An EMP on that Archon. MaxPax has nothing left. GG's, and Clem just wins the large army fight to take the 1-0 lead in the grand finals, a map away from becoming back-to-back WardiTV European League. Right-hand side of 2,000 atmospheres as we have our Red Protoss player from Storm Gaming. It is MaxPax. Why hasn't Youthermal unplugged Clem's keyboard? Well, maybe he did. Maybe that's why he had to relog. Bottom left is going to be the blue Terran player from Team Liquid. It is Clem. To get this up and ready to roll. Map number 2 here. Hey, Kikai, how you doing? Thank you so much for the 29-month resub. Much appreciated. Hope you're doing well. And thank you for supporting. Again, guys, it's a WardiTV event. Any subscription, we do take $1 of that sub and we put it into WardiTV tournament prize pools. We're currently taking any subs this month and putting it into our WardiTV Christmas Invitational prize pool to buff up the Patreon prize money. And hoping that we can make that, I think, a $1,500 event sounds fun for our Christmas Invitational. That will hopefully be playing out maybe the 2nd and 3rd week of December, depending on how organized I manage to be. So probably the end of January at this rate. I was going to see that probe coming in, a little bit of a nibble on an SCV, bit of back and forth there as the command center will go down. Nexus is coming up and the Cybercore will be finishing soon. The orbital command coming through as well. Probe heads back up to the top side of the map here. SCV will be moving back around. And hey, Bode99, thank you so much for your 7-month resub on the Prime. Also, thank you so much. Almost at 900 sub points again, guys. 891, hell yeah. The road upwards, the climb upwards is continuing. Just a very quick mention before we continue with this game, but I'm not here this weekend because TSL is on again, so I will not be streaming. Tomorrow is completely my day off. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I will be on the TSL stream if you want to hear me casting. So I'll be back on my own stream on Monday, just to let you guys know. Alright. Well, I move through and just going to be seeing our Adeptors on the way down across the map. So here comes MaxPax going into a Twilight Council opening again. This time Clem is going to reactor out some Hellions. So a little bit different to the last time around, where the Hellions were just producing one at a time. So a little bit different there already is... Yeah, I mean, obviously good to keep up different kind of amounts of pressure and so on. All that kind of stuff. Very, very fun stuff. Exciting, in fact. As we see, the first two Hellions are going to make a move. No proxy starport or anything. It's just going to be two Hellions and then into some Widow Mines. And that's kind of a popular way to play out this situation in general as well. To get a couple of... to get a couple Hellions, they kind of run around, try and force some distractions. And then you actually drop Widow Mines in with the medevac. Obviously, you can get 4 Widow Mines out with the reactor, and that means you've got a full medevac of Widow Mines to try and get some damage. And MaxPax is going to be going up to just 3 gateways again, so it's that kind of in between. It's not completely kind of 4-gate pressure, 6-minute third base, but it is some amount of pressure available to you. You can put on a little bit of an attack. It is not with a Robo, though, so you will not have a Prism. There's the Robo. So the Robo's coming through now. Obviously, that's just, going to take a little while to get going then. So if anything is going to happen, pressure rise from MaxPax, it's just going to take, like I say, a few moments to really get going, due to the Robo being a bit later. But he might have a good Stalker count, so maybe a good Stalker count to deny the initial drop and so on, and then he will power up with the counterattack, because by then his Robo will be online, a Prism can be out. Maybe that is the overall thought process here of MaxPax. As this Adept continuing to fight. Here comes the Widowmine drop. Again, Clem just going to drop through into the natural, kind of what he did last time. And as we see, one Stalker goes down. He is going to hit a fair few probes, 4 workers. Unfortunately, you can only get 1 Widowmine out alive as the medevac is extremely low HP. 4 workers and a Stalker, though, and the medevac and 1 mine is still up and running. That's a win. It's more than 1 probe per mine, and yeah, potential for more later. And yeah, that's neat. I mean, really, you should leave a Stalker or 2 back as well as MaxPax now as well, because the medevac's still up, so you can't send everything across the map unless you're going to let that Widow Mine drop come straight on through and deal damage. Oh, and look at that. He might even get a scout with the medevac here. He's definitely going to see the Forge. So he's going to know about the Forge. You'll see the Robo Bay if he redrops the Natural, so that's obviously pretty good information to have as well. So that's definitely cool info to be playing with. Stalker's moving around. Medevac actually did unload the mine. Sorry, we seem to miss that as Stalker blinks in, Medevac goes down. And the Hellions try and run for the front again. Good warp in from MaxPax to defend that, though. Nicely done. A couple of barracks and engineering bays on the way up as Clem gets into the next stage of his game. And looks like we're just going to have a little bit of an Immortal production. Just waiting for the Colossi to get going. He has extended Thermal Lance. Now on the way in as well. So just getting that set up. Starport moves over to the reactor, and again, a couple of additional racks all coming down. So with 3rd CC ready, we can get the 5 racks set up rolling. Now, there is a few Stalkers here that will see that command center. I mean, the command center also sees the Stalkers. The 3rd CC might want to turn around a little bit. Stalkers blinking back, Marines fighting. We do need to actually save this orbital command, though. Oh, Clem's going to lose the third base. He didn't really expect MaxPax to commit for it, right? And he actually loses it. Oh, that's so painful. So MaxPax third up just kills Clem's third CC. That is not good at all. So we're seeing our Stalkers going for the third again, and that's a cancel a second time around. Okay, well, this is really bad. Clem just... Obviously, he sent his SCVs back when those Stalkers moved through, but he never brought them back with the army. I mean, you should always bring the SCV... Oh my god. Oh my god! You guys ever just get tilted about your third CC? I'd be tilted right now. If I'm Clem, I'd be off my seat in rage. This is... I mean, this is just horrendous. You've lost... you had to cancel twice. You've had it killed as well. And you're not mining the third base that you've made SCVs for, right? The entire thing is turned out to be a complete waste from Clem. And this is going to be rough as he moves forward and chases some Stalkers down. A little bit of high ground vision from the Viking is... I mean, Stalkers are just picking away at units here. MaxPax should be in a grand position. The only thing that could be bad for MaxPax right now is if he was to just die to the attack, right? Because it's where Clem still has the full power of his 5 racks and so on, but... You know, over time, MaxPax is just up an entire base from where he should there, from where Claire wants him to be, so... Yeah. A little rough as we see the tanks and bio units pressing forward. Just going to be seeing the Colossi coming through. Tank count is good, to be fair, and he deletes that Immortal. So yeah, the tank count's reasonable. And there's 3 medevacs in this game. The tank's going to push up a little bit. Well, that's definitely something we can look at here. Super Battery. It'll be available too. That's a lot of Stalkers that are going to get hit here. There's a Super Battery going down, but there's a lot of tank fire. I think MaxPax has dove on that way too early. And now this Colossus is kind of on its own as well. Pylon goes down too, as the tanks could probably take a step forward. Now there's no Super Battery. Clem might be thinking about a fight. Oh, he's going to get flanked in by Zealots. He needs to lift up and get out of here. He's going to try and fight. He leaves the tanks for a little while. Okay, well, Clem actually cleaned out enough army that this might still be okay for him. His third CC is now up, about to be an orbital. He's only 8 workers behind, and like I say, he traded very, very well in this engagement. Resources lost heavily in MaxPax's favor. Sorry, heavily, 500. Resources lost in his favor. Yeah, I mean, not bad. I mean, I guess the start was better for Clem, and then he obviously lost a bit, you know, getting cleaned up on the follow-up. This medevac in trouble as well, not going to be able to find much. Stalker commits for the medevac, and Clem just couldn't find a way out of this, as he'll just try and stem these Marines forwards to get something done. MaxPax is just running across the map here against 3 tanks and no Vikings. He does have 3 Colossi. Well, this other tank needs to siege. As Clem's just going to stem right away. I mean, his strength here is obviously A, no armor upgrades, so those Zealots are going to melt a little bit. I like that he builds the CC on the top side, just chokes up a little bit more. The Observer flies into the scan there at the end as well, as the Prism is in the main base too, so that's something Clem now has to deal with. On top of this army looking and posturing to come on through. We have a Hallucinated Archon that's looking to deal some damage here as the Zealots start to use that charge on the CC, so at least they're not going to charge into the fight right away. The Zealots in the main base are going to get picked off. The Prism's going to come back around this way, where a few Marines are going to stem on after it. Yeah, the repositioning here from MaxPax is pretty cool, because now there's only 2 of the tanks really in range. It's a little bit choked up, but let's see if Clem can actually win this fight. As we do see, the Colossi is still going to be the biggest issue of all in the background. Clem has his reinforcements showing up from the main base that were dealing with those Zealots previously. He's lost a lot of SCVs. His army supply is decent, but he's also low HP on a lot of his units, right? So they're very close to going down. And those Colossus are still dealing splash damage from the back here. Clem just going to type out game, just cannot stay in this, and MaxPax will draw this out to game 3. He's not going to let this grand final slip away from him just yet. Top right-hand side, again, needs to win this to force the second best of 3 in the grand finals. It's MaxPax on the bottom left. If he wins this game, Clem is your champion here today. Akko SE2, thank you for the 3-month resub setting up into this game at the start. Appreciate it. Welcome back. Thank you for supporting. Barracks is on the way in from Clem. Let's see just what everyone has to think about the early game as our probe is going to come across. Big map, Glitter and Ashes. Intriguing to see what MaxPax will do. It's also a large main base. As this probe heads across. Let's see if he is going to be sneaky at all, or if he just wants to get into the bottom side to see what's going on. A little bit of back and forth, SCV versus Probe for a few moments there. They'll continue against each other. Fight continues. So yeah, they get into a little bit of a scrap as SCV will get the Probe pretty low. Now you have to back away a little bit. Yeah, guys, just to answer some confusion in the chat, MaxPax was from the lower bracket, and because of that, he has to win 2 best-of-3s, while Clem just has to win the 1 best-of-3. We just decided to switch up for this tournament a little bit, make it a little bit different. And, yeah, it has turned out that way. It's going to be seen at Twilight Council. Building up from MaxPax. Just going to see a grenade going down and Adept moving through. Bunker will set up on the natural here. We're pulling back just a little bit. Just going to be getting itself around. Once again, a Twilight opening from MaxPax. Definitely sticking to what he knows and what he likes. No Stargates here, and obviously no Proxy Voids either. At the moment, it's just going to be seen. The Adept will push the Reaper back. Second gate on the way for now. It is a large main base, so definitely a lot of potential if you want to blink up here and be aggressive. That is an absolutely an opportunity you can take advantage of, perhaps. So something to watch out for as the Reaper is looking as though it wants to get into Scout. Sees the Stalker, would rather keep the Reaper alive than let it go down trying to scout those. So just pulling the Reaper back as the Adept coming through to chase that Reaper away at the moment. Just going to see the starport is going to drop for the Tech Lab. Grenade goes onto the Adept. Stalker's just chasing the Reaper around again. A couple of gateways continuing through. Just going to be having a robo facility about to finish up. Just going to see the Marines grabbing an Adept. Reaper up to the top side. Just going to be seeing that Reaper is going to go and grab a probe, and it's going to just be going down, pile onto the top, and Stimpack still moving through from Clem as well. Now Blink will be finished up in a moment or so, and obviously with the Prism popping now, time to get aggressive with those 4 gateways, so let's go and see what MaxPax can do here now. Clem is actually supply blocked, and that's a bad supply block as well, because he kind of needed that siege tank to get started there, so he needs that siege tank ASAP. Important part of the defense. Good amount of Marines, but they won't, do too well against Stalkers. The Raven's just going to go across the map, so we'll be looking to kill some probes with the Raven rather than using that defensively with an auto turret every now and again. Additional few Stalkers will warp in. SCV's repairing the bunker. Obviously doesn't last forever, but buys you time to get units to the low ground. The first tank is now out. But this is where Clem is already losing a fair amount of SCVs, but the tank is here. That's where the Stalkers need to make a decision. Do they want to dive for the tank, or are they okay just kind of hanging back? There's the auto turret, so again, these probes will stop mining for a bit, and that is nice. Some economic damage in return for the damage that these Stalkers are able to get done. Obviously, Clem's about to have Stim as well, so with Stim coming through, he's going to be in a better spot. And a second tank. What's important for Clem is he's not lost too many units here, especially not losing the siege tank, so this makes it much better for him. I don't know why, there's just a few Stalkers at the front. I felt like they were maybe after a tank that didn't really work out. The Raven coming back around the back. Now, MaxPax only on a 5-worker lead, which isn't really that crazy, all things considered. He's going to blink for the tank in the main. There are going to be Marauders that stim for it, though, and that's going to cost you quite a few Stalkers. So definitely not 3. Now we're going to go for the attack over here. I don't like that at all. These Stalkers are taking a ton of damage. Yikes, I think is a fair phrase for that one. Okay, you killed a couple of siege tanks off, but these Stalkers are battered and bruised. I mean, we've got medevacs out as well, so the bio units are also going to start getting some heals. That means they should be kind of all right here as well. Prism back into the main. There is no siege tank, though. We've not got the gas, apparently, to keep that siege tank production going, as these Stalkers will blink back, or should be blinking back out of trouble. War Prism will help as we lose a second one. We're still fighting Stalkers off on the natural. Clem is 8 workers down, but almost doubling in army supply, so this might not feel great for Clem, but actually it really ain't so bad. I love that these 2 medevacs have been running around everywhere, trying to make the most and trying to keep alive what they can. Super Battery goes off on the natural. That battery obviously just trying to keep units alive against the Raven. As we're actually going to commit in here from Clem. He's going to make a play, and obviously the Stalkers will just blink to the low ground. That's the power of the Stalkers here. Is Clem just struggling to really shut this down properly and get enough up? And that's the problem with having lost any kind of bunkers and siege tanks. You don't have any kind of space control, right? And so that's what MaxPax is really utilizing. The mobility of these Stalkers to go one way than the other, and Clem just has no real kind of, locked down location. That mule probably should have been on the bottom side of the mineral line. It's one of those little things, right, where if he just dropped that on the other side of the mineral line, he would have been in a way better position. He wouldn't have lost him fresh mule. That was otherwise very costly. Clem is now at a bit of a worker disadvantage. Third base about to finish up from MaxPax. And, yeah, I mean, now it's like a 20 worker difference, and it has just added up over time, and Clem is in a position now, I think, where he's genuinely going to be in some trouble to kind of get back into this. As honestly, it felt like moments were going very well for Clem, but it just all continued for way too long, and he's been moving one way then the other for so long as well. It's been kind of rough. We're going to send the medevacs out on the map. Now, that could be a cool play, because that's something that could kill the third base, right? And that could even this game up if you kill a bunch of probes or something. I mean, Clem still has an army lead, so if he can stabilize here while doing damage across the map, the Colossus is only halfway done. We have a recall on the third base. We do have energy. No battery here, though, by the way, so Clem's is going to start moving in, and like I say, those probes going to have to move back. There's the recall. Clem, what you're going to go for? He's going to lift into the natural expansion. There's a battery here, though. Or is he just going to go all the way to the main, or what's the plan? There's a couple Stalkers here, and that medevac should die when more Stalkers blink forwards. Clem has a boost in a second, and he gets this medevac away, man. Types out GG. We are going to reset, and we are going to have another best of 3. MaxPax wins the first one, and he is not going to make Clem's life easy. We are going to go for the second best of 3. The grand finals really will go the distance. GG. Let's jump into this, as MaxPax was able to make it happen. So far, able to take us to a second best of 3 in this final, so away we go. Bottom right, he is our Red Protoss player. Fresh best of 3. And if he can win it, he is the European League champion. As in the top left, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. Just couldn't quite get those Stalkers under control last time around. Stalkers creating a lot of problems for him those last 2 games. Let's see if he can tighten up on that and do just a little bit better this time around. GLHF is called on either side. Let me get this ready to go, as we do have an engineering bay block straight up to start us off with here. So already a little bit different there. I'm just going to be seeing this is going to slow down MaxPax's expansion. A few probes obviously are pulled to try and keep the expansion going down at a normal time, but obviously that costs you a little bit more because you're pulling probes, and that means you're not mining with them, so it is still costly for MaxPax. As Clem. He just lose the SCV? He actually lost the SCV, so the SCV went down. As we'll see a new pylon getting set up. So just getting that established, we do have a cybernetics core building on the edge of the main base here as the probe will continue through. Heads up in towards the main, as you will see the tech lab on a on the barracks there. So that tells you, okay, well, I'm up against a Marauder opening. So that's obviously pretty good info. Just going to be seeing our concussive shells coming through. And obviously with MaxPax knowing that, that shouldn't be then as successful. MaxPax should be able to set up accordingly and not let this kind of amount to too much. As the Marauder just going to chase that probe down. Probe will fall. I'm just going to be seeing the CC from Clem now going into the natural. So in we go. Probe going to head up the right-hand side. Nexus is already coming down, of course, and yeah, we just wait to see. Oh yeah, the Twilight Council. So MaxPax's going to stick with what he's been going with so far. More of the same in that regard as we just pull this probe back out over to the left-hand side through the center and to the upper left. It's just moving along with that for the moment. Two Marines and Marauder going to grab the probe then and just going to be seeing that going down and the bunker finishing up. There goes the Adept on the way out across to the upper left-hand side. It's just making a move. Our starport is coming through. Our reactor coming in. Just going to be seeing a couple extra probes continue out as well as this Adept is going to intercept and kill off this Marine. So Marine already taken down. Starport's about to be done from Clem. Just going to see a second Rax coming down. Reactor going to be finishing soon. Factory building up a tech lab. And just going to be seeing now this SCV. Continuing out down to the south side. So away we go with that. He's going to get taken down. Blink coming through. Robo facility coming through. A couple probes coming down as Marines will be popping. Again, extra barracks on the way up as well. It's just getting all of those ready. We do have the tech lab on the factory and the Marine up around the top side. Adept coming up as well. Raven is coming through from Clem. So a little bit more of what we've been seeing from him, that Raven that likes to go across the map, putting some pressure. I actually didn't like it. You know, initially I liked it last game, but then I really felt like he didn't do much else. Once there was a battery in each mineral line, I feel like maybe that Raven should have tried to come home and just try to actually be like, you know, at home. They can obviously come through and just be a very different kind of unit. Just an auto turret here or there might have made the difference against the Stalkers sometimes, right? So that's maybe an adjustment Clem might look towards. Maybe not. Maybe he's okay with it, having been across the map, forcing some super batteries, etc. But I really felt like once there was a battery down in each mineral line, it just never really got anything else done. Bay coming in as GCR Stalkers. Just moving back over the right-hand side. Again, Forge coming down, Immortal coming up. It's going to be seeing a few more Marines coming in. The tank and the Viking all coming through as well. And these few Stalkers are making their way over. There's a cute little Marine that actually just wanders into the base. He's actually going to stop right there. What did he see? Did you see the Robo Bay? Everything I'm selecting gets killed. He did see the Robo Bay, so actually pretty cool scout on a single Marine wandering forward. Some Stalkers bling into the main, though, and that's pretty huge because he's going to kill a siege tank with this. Auto turret will go down, but he still just blink away. And MaxPax is finding some incredible value with these Stalkers so far. Really finding some good stuff here at the moment. Our Bio Army falls back. A couple tanks, Viking and the Raven continuing through. I'm just seeing a couple of extra gateways coming up from MaxPax now as well. In this natural expansion, extended thermal lens coming through. The +1 attack upgrade coming in. And these Stalkers escape away. Tank fires, just going to be seeing a couple gates coming through. Probes on the way out. Again, +1 attack, stim, and combat shields. All continuing as well here. Also just going to see our medevacs continuing up. Siege tank is popping out. There's a couple of Marauders come on through. And still just seeing the Stalkers chilling out over here. Down the bottom side, Probe still wandering. MaxPax has made his way to a third Colossus here once again. I was just going to be seeing that coming through. Obviously, just getting to that Colossus count has been a major part of what these Stalkers are for, just keeping the Terran busy. Get that Colossus count up without issue. I'm just going to see our Hallucination continue to move on into this. Our Stalkers again from MaxPax turning back around in the center. And the few Marines on the medevac going to make their way around as well. Tanks will siege up across the board. Just going to be having our pylon up the right-hand side of fourth base of MaxPax. Will set down as well. But there's a few units from Clem here that will look to force a quick cancel, so I'll be slowed down at the very least. And otherwise, Clem's been pretty held back, right? Just hasn't been too active. Just the moment here where he decides to just go for this. He's got the Raven building up energy. His tank count is reasonable. That's a nice catch on the medevac. However, you're going to lose quite a few Stalkers for this now, because obviously they blink forward, so you get 3 Stalker kills. Actually, really not bad to kill 3 Stalkers. That's expensive. Makes up for the medevac loss at least. So Clem making something out of what seemed to be a play from MaxPax. Clem is able to kind of get back into it, actually, as a couple of Marines get lasered down by the Colossus, and now the Warp Prism around the left side here. Zealots, Colossi, and the Immortal just picking their way through this set of rocks. Taken down. The few Zealots load into the Prism, and we're just going to start pressing forward. Tank fire onto some Stalkers already. In we go. Bioforce will set up. Raven's going to Matrix 1 Colossus. This wasn't so much, you know, a Matrix which is going to kind of let you kind of really come in and fight. It was more, hey, you don't have the damage to keep on fighting yourself. But he didn't want to use both of them right away. Now, we do have a lot of Zealots warping into the main. However, Viking and the Raven here, he's going to Matrix the Raven as well. The idea there is that it can't unsiege, so the Viking will guarantee get the kill on it. As we see this Immortal being chased down, there's not a lot of units in this army, and I mean, MaxPax knows it. He recalls away. Clem has a major army supply lead. These attacks of MaxPax have just not been working out. He gets 11 SCVs, but like I say, he's lost so much army in doing so. He lost the Prism, tons of Zealots. Obviously, the Colossi stay alive, but they're pretty much the only thing that stayed alive, as now Clem will begin dropping. Recall already used to get back home from MaxPax, but he's not in the main base, so Clem's already able to just kind of, you know, start making some plays here and just start pulling his opponent around. That's a group of Stalkers warping in. They'll get a super battery to help. I imagine Clem might have thoughts about moving out onto the map with everything else soon, and really just starting to consolidate the rest of his army in one major push to put an end to this first game and take the lead in what will be our final best of 3 of the tournament. Bioforce unloads down on the bottom side, ready to chase for a pylon. Couple Stalkers warping in there. I mean, as Pylon sees Clem, Clem sees the pylon. It's an interesting little standoff. MaxPax does have that 4th base up. I'm genuinely a bit surprised Clem hasn't unsieged and got ready to move out. You know, I really felt like he was going to go for a bit of an attack across the map at some stage of this. But, yeah, just apparently just happy with just the drop, setting up his 4th base, and maybe just confident in a longer game and doesn't feel like he needs to pressure anything else or make anything else happen just yet. Maybe that's the situation, as we do have our Bioforce back up this ramp. And these tanks moving back around the right-hand side as well. So away they go. Army of MaxPax out in the center. As the Bio Army, Raven tanks and medevacs all coming around too. Just going to see the few Stalkers into the middle here, and this army having a little look to see what's up. Units come in from the other side, and they will get a Stalker kill. Big anti-armor missile. I mean, that's actually nice because it just stops MaxPax from attacking. MaxPax can't force the engagement while that anti-armor is up, right? Try to get the Raven. We refresh the anti-armor, so it's going to keep MaxPax afraid. Okay, but now you got to go, right? Because Clem's walking up into your natural. Yeah, that's going to be bad. This battery's going to go down. The tanks are very far back from Clem. That's the only good news I really have from MaxPax. If he runs up like this half of the ramp, maybe he'd be okay. Some Zealots counterattacking as he's going to lose out in the robo facility. He has DTs as well, so these DTs warping in. Clem is going to need a scan, but if he has it, this is going to be a pretty one-sided fight, quite frankly. MaxPax really kind of just tiptoeing around the siege tank range at the moment. A couple Stalkers go down. Pylon gets picked up. I'm just going to be seeing this Bioforce still coming through, so battery gets taken down as well. The DTs have made a move on the tanks. We finally scan and get rid of those DTs. There's a lot of tanks that go down, though, and maybe now you don't have as much of an answer to the Colossus. That's a play from MaxPax. The DTs putting themselves into some, giving themselves some value there. As Clem has just ran straight up the ramp to the 4th base, though, so that's just going to die. And MaxPax recalls the probes. Don't even think Clem was interested in the probes, though. As tanks ran back home, and Ghost coming now. 2-2 upgrades finishing soon. A very successful set of attacks from Clem. Was slowed down a little bit, arguably, with the tanks getting killed by the DTs, but otherwise, yeah, Clem's been in control of this game. You know, MaxPax really did waste a lot of units attacking into Clem previously, and has absolutely been a factor as the Bio Army back into the center. Zelds are going to come through. Colossi and Tank and Immortal, sorry, are going to knock down some rocks, and if MaxPax wants to attack here, then I'm kind of questioning it. Clem with the double sensor tower, double planetary. You guys think he forgot to put his glasses on? Because it looks like he's seeing double over here. Yeah, okay. Double planetary and double sensor tower. Double planetary. You know what? It is what it is. I kind of understand the planetary in a way, but the double sensor tower is obviously a mistake. Yeah, Clem just going to come through and... Well, I mean, again, does he want to push? He is maxed out, but he looks like he's just happy to play into a bit of a later game. Does not seem to want to press the issue too quickly at all as we knock down a set of rocks. Just going to be seeing those few DTs are making their way forward. And a single hallucination moves in, gets shot down. DT's just swiping it away. He's just going to see how Zeld's going to start running up this ramp. Vikings are going to have to run back as well. A little EMP comes down on a sentry. Army continues through. Left hand side, these couple of DTs are going to get in on top of the orbital, but Clem still has the tanks over here. They're going to get a few shots off initially. There's no medevacs with this army, though, as Clem stims again. I think he's just got enough to turn this around in general. He's setting snipes off on the Zealots. Could really do with some medevacs over here, guys. He has 7 on the map. Where the heck are they? Well, some of them are on the way over now. MaxPax is doing a very good job of just threatening with very low unit counts, and with those very low unit counts, he's getting a lot of value because he's forcing Clem to kind of split away and to deal with those couple units over somewhere else, and then he's using his main army to punish Clem's split. Clem scans that side as MaxPax now might be in a bit of trouble. Open area, Clem can just stem forward. Kind of surprised we've been seeing so many Immortals in production. I actually really feel like some Disruptors here would have worked wonders, right? Because Disruptors are what would buy, you know, MaxPax time if Clem tries to stim in toward him. Army coming over to the right. Medevacs will heal up a bit. A few probes going down. Order turrets. It's going to get rid of another probe as well. An additional round of Zealots warping in. Just going to see this army of MaxPax ready for a bit of a push forward here. That Ghost gets sniped down as the Stalkers blink through. Just going to see our DTs blinking in for the Planetary Fortress. SCVs are going to surround. Planetary being kept alive. Not every day you see the Planetary kept alive against DTs, and that's going to be all the DTs killed. A snipe on the other one as well. MaxPax to the left-hand side into the double Planetary. Well, Vikings showing up. They actually might get a Colossus. It's low. In fact, the other Vikings show up, so they definitely will. And now the other Colossus maybe could have even been chased too. There's not that many Stalkers here, quite frankly. As Clem, I think, gave a little bit of respect to the fact that he just was kind of not there with the rest of his army to support his Vikings. And Clem's army is just so much better. The EMPs that I mean, there's just so many Immortals. I don't know what MaxPax was thinking with this Immortal count. You know, in a different phase of the game, maybe, but right now, I just don't see what these Immortals were ever going to do in this large of an army with Clem already on so many Ghosts and all the rest of it, you know? I feel like all of those were a lot of issues. The Bioforce comes back around the top. I'm just going to be seeing the Bio Army coming to the right side. A couple missile turrets getting set up. A couple Liberators coming through. Command Centers continuing in, and just going to be seeing this force of MaxPax up to the top side here. GT's coming in, Ghost getting hit, and EMP goes down. Just going to be seeing how Super Battery is going to fall. Immortals pressing up the ramp, just going to be seeing Zombie attacking through. A couple of Zealots in some trouble. Just going to go down there as the DTs move over the right-hand side. 7 workers go down. A couple probes dying back over on this side as well. And just going to be seeing ourselves a... well, maxed out army versus maxed out army. I mean, I really still feel like Clem's army is just so much better. He's being so patient, though. Like, he is just refusing to take a fight, almost, actually. He's like, I will only fight MaxPax if you step over this line repeatedly. And MaxPax, like, steps on the line, and Clem's like, okay, look, I'm strong. MaxPax's like, oh, you can actually just kill me now. And Clem's like, yeah, but only if you step over the line. And MaxPax's like, well, I guess I'll hide behind the line then. You know, no worries for me. Finally some disruptors. Hey, this is what the Immortals are good for. They can bust down the double planetary. Yeah, I mean, that's something, right? Clem honestly does feel like he's playing, like, afraid, though, right? Maybe this is just me, but I really feel like he is playing afraid of MaxPax. Like, he's afraid that this can all go wrong. Honestly, I'm more afraid for Clem now than I've been all game because there's disruptors out. You know, and he's let MaxPax max out. He's had so many leads in this game, and he's not taken advantage of them before now. And I do think he's built on his leads as well, and I still think his army's great. But I think if there was ever a time to be worried, it probably should be now, because MaxPax has been given a bit more freedom, and that freedom can oftentimes, you know, deliver. I mean, right now, DTs have killed off 14 SCVs, so there goes a chunk of Clem's economy, already just dead. And as MaxPax gets a good bit of harassment going, he's trying to get rid of this top right base as well, and looks as though there's a good chance of doing so. As an EMP comes down, Clem will threaten to chase that group of units away. This might actually be the big fight as MaxPax continues to be the one pushing in towards Clem. Some EMPs going down, some of those Immortals, disruptors being dodged so far, not connecting on what could be juicy connections with so many ghosts in this army. That's what the disruptors are obviously hunting for here, as a few more Stalkers warp in on the right-hand side. Just going to be seeing 5 additional Liberators continuing to build. I was going to see Stalkers blinking up, Immortals coming through. Planetary in the top right, taking some damage. The rest of the army continuing to move through. I mean, Clem is just going to go, but now MaxPax has a sizable amount of units moving across the map for his own counterattack. And the Immortals moving up this ramp. Planetary Fortress is going to get taken down. A Liberator being chased. Nexus will go down here on the right side. So what, now we're base trading? I mean, do you really want to be in a base trade right now as Clem? I mean, I guess, yes, the base trade is better for him. I just feel like this is the riskiest possible way Clem could have won. And, like, you know what? I don't even, like... It's weird because I don't want to hate because, like, he's just genuinely winning big time. But I've just, like, had this, like, anxiety in me for the last couple minutes where it's like, well, you know, I can see how Clem can lose this. I honestly still kind of can in a way, right? I mean, there's a lot of Liberators and stuff, don't get me wrong. But DT's in a base trade. MaxPax has bases all over the map. More bases than Clem has around the map right now. I mean, MaxPax is obviously just losing out on a lot of stuff. Clem has a massive army supply. And he can obviously kind of bunker up on this double planetary position, which we've joked about a couple of times as well. As Clem will clean out the bottom left-hand corner as well. He's going to get rid of this Nexus. Just a very long-winded route to victory in this game number 1. As we have the entire army over here. I mean, not really able to bust the main. Obviously, you've got this right side base as MaxPax only has 17 probes, so might not really be all that meaningful. Clem just needs to make sure he's got scans available, because obviously he needs to make sure he's going to be able to deal with the DTs, and I think he does. Plus, he's got EMPs. It shouldn't really be an issue. Lib's going to reset. That might just be when Clem wants to go for this. Protect his Liberators a little bit as he's pressing out. Dodges that Disruptor. Another Disruptor. Obviously, again, that's what MaxPax has to do. Zone with the Disruptors right now. Keep Clem's army away from his own, because if Clem's army gets on top of MaxPax's and gets some EMPs off, this is not going to be a fair fight at all. Couple extra probes just continuing through. Just going to see Immortals, Stalkers, Disruptors continuing around the center. Couple SCVs falling back. Gee, did Clem hit his Medivacs with an EMP? They have no energy. That or they've just been drained from healing this entire time. DT's still looking around, looking for some damage. Clem just keeping this army at bay. I mean, he's slowly chipping out. I suppose he's scanning around. He's still wondering, just what the situation is for MaxPax in terms of his economy, as Lib's going to take some damage here. It's those 3 disruptors. There's nothing else actually scary in this army of MaxPax apart from the disruptors. And Clem now should know that, no? Is this not the moment you go for this? The disruptors are all on cooldown. You just killed the one that was active. You're going to have DTs blinking in, so he drops the EMPs. The disruptors will die, and this group of immortals will follow. And it's absolute destruction, as it kind of feels like it should have been for a while. Again, I don't want to wish the games to be shorter. Just feels very frustrating to watch somebody have such a lead from the observer's point of view and just never take it at any point. It actually works out. So I get paid from Twitch into my PayPal in dollars, and so I just keep a lot of that money in dollars. And it never changes, so it helps. But yeah, I just use PayPal a lot, so I don't notice any weird amounts all the time. Top right-hand side, we do have ourselves a right Protoss player down a game. Let's see what he can do to bounce back here. It is going to be MaxPax from Psystorm. Bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player is Clem. And we wait to see what happens going into map 2 of this TvP. Second best of 3 they played again. So again, first run, MaxPax won 2-1. Now Clem is 1-0 up here. And if, again, this best of 3 just decides the winner of the tournament. Clem had to win one of the 2. MaxPax had to win both to win, as MaxPax came from the lower bracket. MaxPax did lose to Clem in the winner bracket finals as well. So right now they're kind of like 1-1 in best of 3s as well, if you want to look at it like that. That is where we currently stand. The probe comes through, nibbles the SCV a little bit. Usual early game harassment, nothing too spectacular. He's going to see a CC coming down. Obviously, this SCV getting low. He's playing a dangerous game, still trying to fight and get involved, but is out alive in the end. It's not the end of the world, and actually going to see the probe going down. The Marine catches it, so Marine gets the probe catch. As otherwise, the Cyber Core is coming through, going to be finishing up shortly. And Nexus coming down on that natural expansion. The Warp Gate coming up as well. Just dropping down the factory from Clem 2. Clem will bunker up at the front. I mean, it's just necessary against MaxPax, who plays a very aggressive style in general, right? Just always being aggressive, being feisty, getting up in your face and stuff. And obviously, we'll probably come into use later when eventually some Blink Stalkers show up, as they have done every game pretty much so far. Well, every game so far, actually. Every game they've shown up and kind of put a lot of pressure in, put a lot of damage out. They've definitely been having an impact, that is for sure. Adept wants to shade up to the high ground. Reaper is going to be moving on through. Just going to check up into this main base to see what's going on. A few Marines going to turn the Adept around. So Adept taking some hits. Is actually taking too many hits, I think. Just gets away. Actually shades into the main base, and the SCV pulls and gets the kill. So Hero SCV kills off an Adept. Robo facility coming through as we get ourselves set up on the Blink play from MaxPax. Clem. Starport is up building a medevac. He's already adding on a second barracks. He's just wasting no time at all. He's just going to get a couple Widow Mines dropping. Then he's got a tech lab on the factory. Looks like he'll probably move that factory for the Raven to produce, as the factory's going to make its own tech lab. And yeah, that will be our setup for the moment. So, Clem pretty standard right now in terms of how this gets going. Just going to be seeing the robot coming through, the Blink on the way. So far, so good, right? I mean, let's see what the Raven can do. And obviously, with the Widow Mine drop moving in as well, Clem the one to potentially deal some damage right now. Let's see. Pylon should spot that, right? So that is going to be MaxPax able to move, and Blink is going to be done in time for this. That's generally the timing you want. You want Blink to be done for this. Clem knows he's being spotted. He knows MaxPax is going to be waiting for him, so he just pulls back. And look at that. Robobay and Forge both going to go down before the third base. So MaxPax playing pretty carefully off 2 bases here. Doesn't want to go running to 3 bases right away. +1 attack will start again. The Robobay finishing shortly as our Immortal will continue through. A couple of refineries continuing up as well. So we're just going to check the main. The Marines will not try and make a play for it or anything. As our third Nexus finally on the way as mentioned. It's just going to be a wait for Stim and +1 from Clem, who just kind of hangs out here. Probably content that he doesn't have to put up with any of the Stalker aggression this time around, right? Just MaxPax kind of hanging back and not being too aggressive or anything right now. Tank is going to siege. Stalkers going to see what they can do. A couple Stalkers going to blink in. Medevac taking some damage. Okay, we're still continuing through. The Colossus is about halfway done. Extended Thermal Lens still on the way out as well as a couple of Widow Mines will be continuing. Marines still pressing forward and Stalker's still taking some hits. Get those Marines going down. I mean, Clem has a good amount of supply right now. Obviously, a lot of this would come down to what you can do with the Raven as well. He's going to Matrix it, the Colossus that is. He's actually going to drop over. He's going to be really aggressive here and see what he can do. Next Colossus is nearly ready, though. With 2 Colossi out, it'll be too much, but he does get 8 probe kills. The Widow Mines in the base, in the main, get some serious damage done, so Clem gets damage done off screen. Sorry we missed it, but yeah, those 8 probes are going to hurt a little bit, MaxPax, as Clem gets his 3rd CC of this game. 3rd CC should be able to land without Stalker issues as well. That's what happened on 2,000 Atmospheres last time. That was a pretty big problem that came around. It's going to be seen as Medevac boosting through. Stalker getting a couple of additional shots off. Just chasing that Medevac away as the Bio Army collecting together on the Watchtower. Well, +2 attack is coming through as well right now. And just going to be seeing a couple extra cannons. MaxPax really making sure to secure himself at the moment, as maybe a bit afraid of Widow Mine drop coming back for round 2. Stalker count is good here. Oh, Stalkers don't have Blink either, so he actually gets a Stalker for this, so at least something out of what probably should have been nothing. Nice little pick off for Clem at least. Well, his 3rd CC takes itself into position. His extra racks are finishing. And Clem's Bioforce should just be growing stronger by the moment, already moving down the bottom right with a group of units. So moving our way down in this direction as we have got the army. We're going to see what can be done. We stem forward. A Stalker is going to get just about pushed back. Another pylon, which gets picked off as well. Mine's still just kind of coming through. We still got that force on the left side. Clem setting up on the Watchtower as Widow Mine's getting picked away. As we scan out, trying to see what's going on, we see a couple of additional disruptors producing as well from MaxPax. Well, his army composition's definitely on the right track, definitely going the right direction. Hallucinated Phoenix pops out and just going to be seeing the command center setting up at the front. Observer is seeing what's going on. A few Stalkers trying to see what will go down as well. Flanking one away from the Widow Mine shot at the moment. All the disruptors continue through. One army on the left-hand side. Needs to be careful not to get overrun. What is that Raven trying to do? Some Stalkers still targeting it. Now a disruptor shot. Matrix is the disruptor so he can dive on it. Brave play from Clem. That's something which you just need to be kind of, you know, you need to have done that a few times before, right? To have that amount of confidence in the, you know, in the interference matrix that it's going to cancel that disruptor. Because, geez, that was going to be scary. Now the Raven does go down. Clem is just fighting this army. I almost feel like Clem didn't know his army was there. I feel like Clem was actually just AFK for this fight. I feel like is just going to be seeing Bioforce is going to move around the right and just going to see a Stalker getting caught. Disruptors here, well, actually works out. So Clem actually, I think, picked the wrong disruptor. It took him a moment to realize which disruptor was firing as the Widowmine fires. As L goes down, Stalkers are going to blink forward. And it feels as though Clem's just lost all his momentum. It feels like he got distracted or whatever on that fight on the left side, and suddenly it's just going wrong. He's not playing as well, right? He misses the disruptor snipe on the right, which I mean, I think he should have had both those disruptors. And then he kind of was like, oh, what am I doing? He kind of, you know, splits, loses some units. Now he loses a lot of stuff over there, and MaxPax has actually a lot of money to spend, but if he spends it, his position in this game will be marvelous as we settle down. A couple of Widowmines left here. Observer helps to clean them out. That's going to be seeing ourselves a 2-2 set of upgrades on the engineering base continuing in right now. Disruptors all joining together up on this top side. All carriers are on the way as well. Colossi still in the middle. And Nexus on the fourth base coming through too. Oh, with carriers on the way, that's just a sign of confidence from MaxPax as to where he is right now and where he's going to end up. I'm falling back. Clem has actually done, honestly, a pretty good job recovering from, what was it? Look at that. He lost so much. It was a really horrible set of fights. He did get some kills on the back end a few moments later, but yeah, initially it was a really terrible few moments for Clem, who, well, I mean, I guess my concern is going to be those carriers. He's building a lot of Vikings, so in fairness, he's getting the right kind of answer up and running. Yeah, he might have to start playing a bit of a slowed game, because attacking into carriers and stuff is obviously not usually something that ends well for you. Army moves around the bottom right corner. Stalker's moving forward. They're going to run into a Widowmine here. Oh, he sees it with the Observer. So the Observer sees this. Clem scans to see what that is. Stalker's out of position, so he's going to dive in. He's going to EMP the cannons, the Colossus a little bit. Disruptor's going to force him back. The Vikings, that was a weird split. For some reason, half the Vikings went forward and half went backwards. It's almost like he was splitting from a storm. He's going to load up and dive for the main base right now. There's going to be a few Stalkers that will warp in here, but Clem, I think you just have to commit. If you're going to make this move, you've got to make this move, right? There's not a move you start making and then you back off from. However, here come the carriers. That might be something that Clem didn't really account for. He's going to load back up now, and he is going to leave, and I don't hate that, right? I mean, he gets out of here. He scans and knows about the carriers as well. Clem really actually had a good moment to kind of jump on that, but disruptors were indeed scary, and again, unfortunately, the EMP wasn't enough to kind of keep the super battery busy. It was obviously wanted the super battery to hit the cannons a little bit, then maybe not hit the Colossus, so then the Colossus will go down. Didn't quite work out, unfortunately, as Clem sits on this watchtower. We'll see this army approaching as long as he's paying attention. Vikings will turn. We're just going to be seeing the EMP going down. He actually just turns to fight for a little bit. A Widowmine helped out there as well. A pretty big little bit of splash damage as we continue through. The Bio Army still continuing forward, looking to go forward on this, and seeing a few more of these Stalkers being picked away at, so I like that there's some units up over here. MaxPax's force, though, still coming strong through the center of the map right now. Into the middle we go. MaxPax kind of believing in his own army right now, believing that he's got enough to actually make something happen in this, so let's see if that is true, mate. Needs to be a little careful as Clem is obviously posturing just up this ramp over here. An EMP goes off, disrupt the shot, hits a Marauder. Oh, a few random units of Clem just in the wrong place, so they're coming from the wrong direction. The Vikings trying to get some pickoffs. They get an Observer there initially as my carriers fall back. 5 Vikings building at a time, 3 more carriers coming through. I'm a little bit worried that there's not going to be enough on the ground for MaxPax in a way. I feel like he's going so hard on the carriers. I mean, maybe that's going to be alright, but That's my concern right now. Oh, Clem is going to eat disruptor shots. The second one could have been so much better. He actually splits, but then he just GG's out. MaxPax is going to take game 2, and we are going to go to a final map here. Clem felt like he fell apart. It felt... Go. Final map of our grand final here. Clem looking to be back-to-back WardiTV European League champ. MaxPax looking to deny him that. He is 1-1. Winning out on 2K Atmospheres. Bottom left, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. Yeah, let Jeff is called. Let me get this set up. Get this underway. It's going to build the racks outside and then a couple of gases coming through. So Clem is going to be a little bit adventurous to start out with here on this one. As we get that barracks building up for now. Obviously, it's not exactly middle of the map or anything, so this is more just a good way to kind of get set up onto the factory before you expand. Expecting that to be a little bit of something as our probe does move up the ramp, nibbles the SCV a little bit. And you get that wall off completed and coming through then. And this set up as our probe just nibbling on away. Reaper is just going to be clearing that probe out. So probe stuck around as long as it could. Really wanted to try and pick up info apparently. Now the Reaper's going to start going across the map. So let's follow our Reaper off across the other side. Let's see if it can put on any pressure. Of course, again, CC now starts from Clem. He will still put it low ground. He's not feeling too under pressure or anything. Doesn't feel like there's any need to high ground it, so we'll just low ground that CC as we see the Stalker firing. Again, a couple probes continuing out for the moment. So we'll continue along then as actually kind of going to be coming through. We have a Twilight Council again, so MaxPax really living and dying by this Twilight Council in this series. To be fair, some of the success he's seen with the Stalkers in this matchup and against Clem today has been pretty fantastic, so I don't really doubt him for going for it as the Reaper comes through. We do have already a probe going down. It's going to be a bit awkward because, I mean, MaxPax just sent his units across the map, so this Reaper is actually doing very well. A Stalker popping out soon, and Clem is going to get one more probe, but 3 probes is great. And there's Widow Mines here, so a Zealot will go down initially. Now we'll push the other Widow Mine forward. You can burrow that before it dies, so it protects the command center, and obviously you don't really want to give up a Stalker for this, so there is a way around the edge here, but you got to really dance that dance carefully. Another Widow Mine will set up, and that should give you good coverage, right? I mean, the Stalkers will sit where they can. CVs actually have to just wait for that CC to finish. Orbital will start to morph as MaxPax is trying to just test the waters of where the Widow Mine will reach. Oh, Clem actually drops to the other side with a couple of Marines. It puts some damage out, but I mean, it doesn't really go very well because it's only a couple of Marines. Believe it or not, that's not going to be enough right away. He loses another Marine as well. Trying to drop forward. He really wants to get these Stalkers. He's trying to be fancy with the micro, and he will get one. Now the Reaper shows up, and that's going to have a bit of speed to keep on chasing the Stalker. Can we get a grenade down? I think that's what he's moving forward to do. Put a grenade down and bop this Stalker backwards a little bit, perhaps? As... oh, the Reaper just dies. Maybe he used the grenade already. We're going to boost after the Stalker with the medevac now as Clem really is hungry to clean this up. He will get a couple Marines in reach. Each Marine hit once. Other Stalkers show up, and that will be it for now. The Widow Mine burrows, and that will clear the path and make sure the Stalkers can't chase 3 additional gateways coming through as we take the other 2 Widow Mines toward the main base. And what a chaotic affair at the start of this game number 3. Grand final, last map. Life of both players on the line. Alright, Widow Mine going to come through. I mean, the Stalkers don't have Blink yet, but the Widow Mines do get unloaded. That's a horrible time to lag spike, whatever that was. Widow Mine goes off for 2 probes. Unburrows, reburrows to buy a bit more time. Retargets a couple times over. Again, just forcing these probes not to mine for as long as possible. 4 probes killed. And the medevac alive in the corner, but very low HP. We'll try and get it out and actually might make it. See if we can get that back home. Yeah, for now the medevac is good. Tank number 1's already out. Tank 2's on the way and the bunker is up. So our defense initially set up well. And I love this bunker high ground also. Should really dissuade any sort of really kind of aggressive blink up into the main. First tank on the low ground makes a lot of sense, I think. Because the tank on the low ground is just going to be... The tank on the high ground is then going to reinforce the high ground, right? So it makes sense for your first tank to go low ground here. As MaxPax 4 additional Stalkers warp in and looking to blink into the main. You can still blink over here away from that bunker. That's where the Raven will drop down auto turrets if that's going to be the commitment. Marauder shows up. The auto turret goes down. The medevac shows back up as well. It's surviving for the moment. Tank is out, and now the tank sieges the blink in, though. MaxPax really committing to this. Another tank will siege as these Stalkers are kind of stuck in the corner for a while. He will eat some shots off that tank. Oh, no way. That didn't reach down there. It kind of looks like it should, but because of the double height, it actually doesn't. So that tank doesn't hit any further forward. SCV's pre-pull on this bunker. Clem afraid of what might be about to happen. He actually clicked the Marauder, though, so they're following the Marauder, not the bunker. Fix it now before it becomes a bigger issue. Work count even. Clem obviously just wanting to survive until he's got stim and combat shields. That stim upgrade right here, that is so important to keep alive right now. He has double tank in the main so he can protect from this prism. This shouldn't really be able to do anything. Maybe you unload and you can reload up. There's like a corner here where you can unload, but there's 2 Marauders here as well. And these few Stalkers are not going to be able to do too much right now. As a couple SCVs go down. Another tank shot fires, and just going to see the prism looping back around the left-hand side. The Robobay is going to be finishing up. The Forge coming through, and this Immortal is also still coming in. Stalkers just blink straight up here. Tank will go down. Marines being picked away at. Medevac gets taken down as well. That's going to be seeing our tank sieging up. Stalker's having a little bit of a weird dance in the corner as we see the starport is continuing to take some damage. A couple of Marauders and Marines will come through. Tank shots are good. We lose the starport. We do. MaxPax gets a pretty major pickoff. 5 probes die as Raven is going to be the probe killer right now. Gets 2 more. So makes it 7 in total. Obviously, that means the Raven's out of energy, though. That means it's not going to have a Matrix or anything available. As Clem starts to push forward, I mean, he's got a single medevac, so stims are going to be very rare. Because every time you stim, that's damage you just can't heal up because you're missing medevac production that you're meant to have at the moment. So again, losing that starport is a major issue. MaxPax giving me real parting vibes with these Blink builds, man. He's just finding so much damage with these Stalkers every time and finding, like, cool ways to be aggressive with them, even though he's just doing it repeatedly. Really feels a bit like Parting, and how Parting just kind of dominated the scene with the Blink Stalkers for a while. And was able to do things against the top Terrans that others were not. I think Clem's smart not to fight or go across the map or anything, right? He's in a position where doing that just wouldn't really make a lot of sense. I see a few Stalkers turned away by some Marauder fire, and well, yeah, this Raven just still hanging out. He's gonna come in right now with the... Actually, doesn't have an auto turret yet. Is he just gonna bring this home? Maybe just checking the army in a way. Clem is spread out everywhere. It looks like he's almost trying to catch a well, this group of Stalkers, right? He sees them. He does kind of wrap around them. Uh-oh. MaxPax gonna take some losses here for sure. Enough Marauders got in range. May not have concussive shells, but doesn't need it to get a lot of kills here. Clem, the wraparound is good. And we'll continue to move up to the top side of the map. Double gases finishing on the 3rd base. Another scan comes down. Raven really thinking about what it can do here is get back around. I wouldn't even mind this Raven just chilling out until Clem pushes and then just actually making an appearance from behind. It can be the flank, drop a Matrix down or an anti-armor missile, and maybe it initiates the fight or so. I don't feel like he needs to drop auto turrets into batteries or anything. Maybe if you drop like a ton of auto turrets all at once, but yeah, I'd like to see an attempt of the Raven to kind of be the hero in the big fight or so. Ghost Academy is going to be done. Obviously, MaxPax is happy to kind of tech up, though. Disruptor is coming through. Stargate is dropping down. So all of that is setting up at the moment. He is just going to get a battery underway as well. I'm dropping another engineering bay alongside that armory, so getting that set up. A Marine is going to be chased down as well, so map control denied. Tell you what, MaxPax's map control is beautiful. He sees so much of this map, as it is just auto turrets to fight this. He actually killed the shield batteries, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, he sees so much of the map. Units everywhere, really spotting for any sort of movement from Clem. So yeah, just doing a very good job of setting up there at least. Center moves across, does get landed. A missile turret coming down, and just going to be seeing a refinery off to the right side. Gonna drop down a pylon in the front. The Nexus may be looking to come down too. Ghost already going up there as someone is lagging, and that is really, really bad lag. Alright, well, a few moments here as our Russian observer gets hit with the lag spike of doom. This guy's just going to go and he drops, although I get the feeling we're probably going to have a pause in play to come out of. Alright, well, a slight breather here for our final map of the day before we resume once again. 5 seconds and the action will get underway. I do think someone's probably pressed pause.
Game paused.
Yep. Okay, I'm not a referee, so they don't even need me. On we go. All right. Quick breather. And on we go as tanks are going to unsiege. Clem is really trying to bully his way across the map here. 35 army supply lead. He's fighting into a scary army, though, and that's got to be remembered. I actually don't know if MaxPax's army is that big. Like, his army looks A, small, and B, I feel like the siege tanks are going to be really good against it. So if these tanks can get set up, well, yeah. And honestly, I feel like those tanks should have already been sieging by now, but it took a little while. I feel like the tank sieging here when the army moved to the right side was the perfect kind of position, because then those tanks can't be hit very easily. Well, this fourth base of MaxPax is going to go down. Clem has absolutely got himself into a great position across the map right now, taking advantage of this. Tank's going to siege again, still pushing up. And so taking a few more shots. So we've seen a couple stalkers on the right side going down as well, still moving up over here. Auto turrets again. That battery was never rebuilt, so we get 4 more probes. Now Clem drops in the main with tank supports. 200 to 150 supply. Clem feels like he's got his confidence back a little bit in this game 3. He's going to come back down the low ground. Carriers are on the way, so I mean, if you wait this out, carriers are going to be up. But he's obviously a low eco Protoss. It's not like he has a ton of bases as Clem sets up another command center or two. 2 upgrades coming in, a new starport. Clem's just going to back it up, man. I really honestly looked at this army of MaxPax and I really don't like it. I feel like there's just nothing to it, you know? It feels like it's so empty. Clem is going to come forward here. Tank's going to siege a bit further back. Good big split against that disruptor shot, making sure nothing is going to be in range of it when it lands. Tanks push forward again. As we try and make our way through, Bio Army comes all the way up. Nexus gets cancelled again. No fourth base allowed here for MaxPax. Having a lot of troubles. getting that fourth base up and running. Another disruptor shot this time hits a couple of the ghosts. And the Vikings are trying to get some pot shots off, as obviously the carrier count is now here and operational. 2 more carriers in production. And as Clem will need to find something of a way to work around that. Tank's going to re-siege. EMPs go down once more. Disruptor shot doesn't quite land. It is a tough army to push into, do not get me wrong. It's a 3-base Protoss, you don't even really need to push in either, right? That's definitely got to be a factor that Clem's thinking about here as 2 tanks get blown up, though. As he tries to take some position, he's going to stim forward at the moment. Super Battery activates, that will keep this Protoss army alive and kicking a little while longer. 6 probes have gone down during this. This Raven, 21 kills. Is becoming a commander over there. I love this position on the tanks. It's so hard to do anything about these tanks when they're just behind these rocks, behind that kind of gap in the terrain, right? I mean, Disruptors here basically take advantage of the fact that tanks are repositioning. So Clem's reposition is when MaxPax chooses to strike. Clem will turn and continue to fight. A lot of those sentries go down very quickly. The problem is these carriers do not have a lot of interceptors left. Clem is running back, but I actually think he's got enough right now to fight because there's no interceptors remaining. That was the last disruptor shot as well. The Raven started to come through. Okay, there was a lot more disruptors that I didn't see. I thought that was the last one. Clem backs it up. Like I say, that was not a bad moment to maybe go, but if you're afraid of the disruptors, you've got to kind of just respect the disruptors, that's for sure. Colossi coming through, tanks coming forward, EMPs are going to go down, disruptor shots still firing in as well. Going to drop a Nexus out in the front, so just getting that set up as a couple more sentry stalkers, carriers all on the way in. Vikings and Marines coming up here from Clem, plus 2 ship weapons on the way through. Knocking down these rocks. A little drop in the main base. Both medevacs got shut down pretty quickly. He's just going to run the probes for the natural, where they're actually going to turn around and go for some stalkers here. Still pushing up, looking for the 4th base. Again, just that's an issue. That's why MaxPax is in some problems, because Clem's forcing MaxPax to fight into him repeatedly. Just blow up that disruptors. The Vikings, though, targeting interceptors. The interceptor count running low again as the Marines and Ghosts fight forward. They do great against the interceptors if there's nothing else to worry about, but there is still a couple of Colossi, 3 of them in play. They've been kind of monsters in this game as well. Probes going down, these Marines are still around. The Raven drops another auto turret in. More kills being had over there. I can't click on the freaking Colossus, man. It's so insane. 7 kills, 19 kills, 12 kills on the other. I was just wondering because it feels like they've been around forever and just kind of getting some value over time. Raven still actually only picked up 1 kill. The Marines took all the glory in that last round of battle. Disruptors moving through. Stalkers on the right side. We'll take some hits. EMPs keep coming down. MaxPax at a point where he will start to run out of money. And running out of money means he can't even rebuild interceptors. As Clem builds 7 Vikings at a time, I think he's going to have enough anti-air to take the carriers and the Colossi down. Tank is there in position. Pushes the Stalkers back. The disruptor shot comes through. The Vikings and he gets shot at by the Stalkers. You have a right side base coming online here as Clem. Does he want to reposition to try and do something with that? Trying to split his units there. Actually felt like he got more of them killed than anything else. You know, back around. A couple Colossus shots coming in. Interceptors flying through. Another disruptor shot moving forward. And IO Army dodging back yet again. Clem using a lot of stims. He's got Vikings to start picking off the Colossi. That's going to be a pretty big part of this. As now the Vikings going to have to start going through the carrier count here. The ground army dropping. The Viking count in some trouble, to be fair. Here come the extra reinforcing Vikings, though. Okay, these Marines are actually standing very strong. The one disruptor shot that's coming through goes down. There's Marines left firing. Clem is going to take it. And in honestly pretty epic grand final-esque fashion, Clem is going to be the WardiTV European League champion as he takes it 2-1. GG's. And you know what, guys?